Can you hear it? Yeah? Some thumbs up. Nods. Good. Yeah. You guys, I'm assuming, can hear the music and it's not overbearing. And if you can't hear the music, well, it's certainly not overbearing.
I can hear it.
That's good.
Groovy. It's been 2 weeks since we last played, and on that note, I would like to welcome everyone back to another exciting episode of Black Thumb, a D&D campaign for 5th edition from my garage unto you. Based in the Forgotten Realms canon as we know it today, this campaign takes place in Kalimshan, featuring a set of gangsters turned race team who are chasing fate and victory across the sands of the Great Desert in the south end of Tyrell. At this point, they sit on the other side of a mass rebellion, a long escapade of chaos, darkness, evil wrought upon a naval city, Teshburl, at the southernmost point of the sandy land. At this point in their career, their fates are intertwined with their egregious rivals. Their platform, a vehicle of great power, has been taken over by a strange fire elemental spirit wrought from a engine known as a mechanized type of power plant. Yeah, pardon me. As they consider their options, their choices, their directions through life now, they are unsure what fate has in store for them. Their entirety hangs in the balance, having discussed things here and there, and found themselves now faced with a hard decision on all fronts. What will become of our race team? Will they disperse? Will they become gangsters? Or will they continue towards destiny as it might be purveyed to them through the great race? Time and our players will tell. And on that note, Sean, my faithful and ever so incredible archivist, if you could regale us once again with what happened last episode.
Sure. So back on the 4th, we started with Laz is at the restaurant looking down at the pasha. He's disgusted by the pasha having sold off the race team. He's ready to walk away. But the vizier calls him back and takes Laz by the elbow, and he's trying to tell him that there is more to this. But Laz is inconsolable, does not want to hear, wishes the vizier well, tells him to take care of the pasha, and walks off. Sort is heading back to the paddock where Sophia is. Laz tries to broker for some healing potions while he's out in the streets, gets rooked, tries to catch the guy, uses his boomerang axe, and then clips a couple of bystanders. So that's not good. Orion heads to the bar. Barry is trying to find him and walks into the bar but doesn't see him. Smokey was following both of them and calls out to Barry to follow him into the bar. Smokey says the Dragors must now be eliminated. Sort is in the paddock, loading gear and carrying into the bus. Laz is walking back and hits up a church for healing potions and a bath. Orion is in conversation and starts to feel like he was stabbed in the chest. He's not doing well with moments of agonizing pain. Black fluid seeps from the corner of his mouth. Bartender rushing in to grab him, who blacks out and is in and out of consciousness. Barry's trying to catch Orion before he falls. Orion knows mentally he's on a ship with his deity. Smokey checks on him and can tell that he was brought back by evil means. Laz walks in, sees this shit, grabs Orion, drags him back out to the church. Richard is with the Dragors. He's just hanging out. Sirio, I think I have the name, is interested in what Richard is doing. Meanwhile, Laz is wandering around the city with Orion. The priest says Orion has 2 days. He needs a flush. So Laz grabs him, walking out, and tells Barry to fix this. We walk back to the restaurant, ask about the vizier and Hamid Pasha. They assume that he turned in for the night. Laz and Barry go to check the hotel and the inn. Smokey suggests they do a resurrection if we can find a diamond. Barry bumps into Mansoor, who's there, and Laz walks in with the leaky Orion. Back to Sork, talking to Sophia. The elemental doesn't want Sophia to leave. She says she's only going to eat. Richard is grabbing a bite to eat in the Drager compound. The Drager is there. Drager leadership is there. Didn't they hear a chat about a new crew, a new vehicle? A man named Wishstar asked Richard to join him. Richard is being asked to spy on the new team. Back to the hotel, we bring up that Smokey can do a resurrection. Smokey negotiates with a pawnbroker, gets a diamond, which the vizier pays for. We bump into Sork and Sophie and head back to the paddock. Richard is in the paddock. The elemental looked at Richard, then goes back inside. The element explains to Richard that he only has half a soul. Orion comes to, hanging off of my back. Sophie runs up to check on him. Laz drops him on the floor. Sophie says that she has seen this sickness before. This is how, in quotes, he would bring his people back. Margister is a necromancer, would bring people back this way. We continue to progress to the paddock. Smokey casts Dispel Magic on Orion. Orion feels like shit and drops, but he's not dead. Smokey then heals him, and it works. And then we wait. Orion comes to, pretends to shoot himself, which pisses off several of the people in the group. We cut back to Hamid, and he is shouting down the street, and that is where we ended.
The camera opens up. It's a sandy, dusky morning. Kalimshan twinkles as we see in the distance birds soaring through the sky, clouds spilling across the horizon, although in the foreground it's clear. Gray-blue with streaks of yellow passing up over the horizon from the dunes in the distance. The camera pulls back to show the sprawl of Teshburul, a wrought city in the throes of rebuilding. It's quiet, save for the occasional hammers and saws that can be heard, the shouts of workmen moving stone here and there, stacking where they must and carrying them to be stacked, if otherwise. As the camera pans down, it crossfades to show the street level. We pass through the empty streets where we see peoples coming about. There's a swarm of soldiers, all dressed in naval gear, for the most part, with a few exceptions of city guard amidst them. The reinforcements, still conducting patrols, carry with them a wagon that is currently laden with bodies of all sorts, a few of them congealing masses of strange mutations, still being cleaned, picked off the streets wherever. We watch as Parchmenture bellows past, a bit of a wind kicking up sand and dust that hammers against the walls and shutters of the windows. We watch as parchments slap up against the wall and then blow away, one of them saying the great race comes. Another one soon after also says the great race comes, but in a completely different font. A sort of scrawled in red typeface. Angry and foreboding. We crossfade to show the race paddocks. Many of them, in fact, empty at the moment, save for the occasional platform that sits in either pieces or with tools nearby, parts stacked. And as we pass against all of the openings, we finally settle in upon our familiar faces, many of them sleeping as we pan across the whole of the scene. It's probably like I said, the very crack of dawn, and I would assume most people are probably so asleep, except for one elderly individual, robed as he is, carrying a steaming cup of some hot fluid that he slowly sips as he sits with the sun coming up over the horizon. The elderly gentleman sitting in the opening of the paddock stares out, his grizzled face and graying facial hair reflectant with the streaks of gold that strike down upon him. As he takes a loud sip and begins to hack, violently coughing from having breathed his tea, Sorth snaps awake from the top of the van I believe you were on top of. Is that where you were? Is that where you were sleeping?
Eat.
So just to recap, sorry. We left off at night last session with the pasha shouting down drunkenly from his place in the end credits montage. If I'm remembering correctly, you guys all retired back to the paddock. So the question becomes, come the next morning, is Sorth on top of the bus, or where are you?
Yeah, he'll be on top of the bus.
Okay, where's Barium sleeping?
I'm assuming is there like a room at the paddocks?
You guys have cots, and there's like like dividers set up, but the place is warm. So.
Yeah, I'm in a cot.
Okay. Laz?
Laz is probably just curled up in a corner somewhere if he's got a cot, just hunkering down for the night.
Sounds good. I'm assuming Smokey is at his home, not in the paddock.
Probably would have stayed in the paddock just to keep an eye on Orion and make sure that everything was in the clear there.
All right. Would you be up? Are you an early riser or a night owl?
Early riser.
All right. We'll say you're already awake then. Is he a coffee or tea drinker?
Tea.
All right, fair enough. So that's settled then, and then Richard is where? Home? The paddock? A shop somewhere?
Well, if he has his own sleeping quarters, then he's probably sleeping right now.
Okay. And finally, Orion.
Well, after almost dying again, I think I'd be pretty exhausted.
Yeah.
Probably sleeping in a hammock or something, if I could find one.
That's fine. Very good. And so the camera pans against each of you showing all of this. Finally, we pull back again as Sorth is awakening to see the two old men situated, staring out at the rising sun. It's first of the day rays warming their skin from the cold, dusky twilight moments. And as you guys are sitting there, is there anything specific Smokey's gonna talk to Mansoor about?
It was Mansoor who got Orion resurrected, right?
Yeah, the Vizier.
Yeah.
Vizier.
I'm gonna ask what happened there and who the monster was that brought him back.
He did not seem a monster. He says after regarding your words for a moment. He takes a long haul off the hookah situated between you two, and exhaling says, "It was a desperate time, wherein I wish to see one of ours brought back. It is not often that we see fit to do so. It seemed the best opportunity. It was not a choice I made lightly." He looks over towards you as he hooks down his hookah hose and then takes another heavy sip of his tea.
But where did you find this necromancer?
If memory serves, it was outside the temple.
The Temple of?
He thinks about it for a moment. I can take you there, but I do not recall the denomination exactly. I am not much of a devout, I believe it's called. He looks to you and says, "Yourself?"
The stars and the flames and the nature around us are more to mine. Although I do say a prayer to Sylvanus every once in a while.
He gives a nod at this and begins to cough, coughing a little heavily as he gets the last of the tea out of his throat. Looking behind himself, he sees the glinting sun reflecting off of Sorth's eye. Looks directly into Sorth's eye, acknowledging him, and then faces back forward. He doesn't say anything. Sorth, anything you doing? First thing in the morning?
Yeah, right now Sorth is just gonna hang his feet off the edge of the bus and watch the sun come up.
As the back
Catch
claws
that
of your...
morning,
That's fair.
that morning heat.
The golden rays strike upon your scaly skin, providing a respite unlike any other that nature could offer your reptilian self. Praise it! Praise it! And as the backs of your feet, the claws on them, scrape against the bus, the resonant screech sends a shudder through the ears of those still sleeping in the paddock, if they wish to wake up. Laz, when Cody gets back. Bury him yourself as well, if you want to get up. There's lots of noises that hit upon your ears when you're sleeping in a race pack. So, but the air hammers come later.
I mean, I can see that waking up Laz and him just wanting food.
And so it is. As Sorth begins to soak up the first of the rays, we watch as Laz walks out, scratching himself and seeking some sort of nourishment. One after the next, you might or might not start to rouse. And eventually all of you assemble. Anything specific Barium's doing?
Just typical food and coffee.
And Orion? Do you sleep in? You're fairly ragged when you wake up. Like, you're drained, and your musculature is a bit sore.
Okay. This is. I missed most of it, so we're waking up.
You're just waking up. That's
breakfast.
all that's happening. Everyone's just waking up in the paddock.
I'm gonna eat a light meal. You know, I'm still not feeling all that great. But I know I need to keep my nutrients up and be strong for the crew. So just gonna have a light little meal and maybe clean my weaponry and just take it easy. Count my coins, you know.
The camera pans against the whole of the paddock. A somber scene, bittersweet, as everybody knows what's coming. Mansoor looks over towards Smokey and then out towards the sun again and says, I wonder... I don't mean to muddy anything, but I truly wonder if Hamid will sell. And he takes the last of his tea and he checks the cup. He kind of swishes it out. And then he leans forward with a groan and stands looking over towards you and says, it would be a shame, I think.
Smokey thinks that dragon controls too much already.
He looks down at you and says, this is an odd thing to hear from you. Do you mean this? You do not... Why do you work for the dragon if you do not have love for him?
There was necromancy that needed to be dealt with first.
Of course, I see. Bedfellows as they are. So it is. So, what do you say then? That we should not sell, that we should ply for our fate. And how do I convince Hamid of this?
Hamid's a proud man. I don't think it'd be hard to convince him to fight for what should be his.
As the vizier looks down towards you and then looks ahead. He gives a nod at this and then walks past. The camera pans against your face. I'm not sure what sort of expression Old Man Smokey would have. The golden sun splashed down upon you.
His face mostly covered by his teacup.
It's fair. You got a hat on or long hair or something to give your eyes shade? Or
Yeah, he's got some long gray hair. Gray ash colored.
I'll just say that, you know what, there's straight up sunglasses in this world, so just obsidian lenses. They're expensive, but they exist. So, we can still see a bit of shimmering and glinting off of the tea onto your face. Little reflections dancing off of it as you sip. And we can see behind you the Vizier walk into the paddock. And he quietly puts up his hands and then wordlessly lowers them. Walking in amongst you, he simply says, "Breakfast should be here soon." And he continues to walk past to where the cots are. There he gets a duffel bag of a sort, a large sack, if you will. And lifting it up, brings it over towards the table, the workbench in the center of the paddock near the bus. The fire elemental suddenly sprouts out, frothing from the bus, and with its bright orange illumination, saunters around to look upon you all as if it was just one of you. The Vizier places the bag upon, and as he does, you hear it jangle.
What's in the bag?
This is another idea that I had. If the pasha sees fit to sell, perhaps you buy the bus and continue the race independently.
Funny enough that you bring this up. I too had this idea.
He puts the duffel bag forth, opening it up, and he says, "I only ask that you include me as the manager to see this through. I did not believe in this when it began. However, in seeing that the Pasha wished to let this go, such a waste is this. So much at stake."
Orion will turn around and begin laughing hysterically. In
All right.
kind of like a manic state. Isn't it funny? Oh, how fate has turned its course. One moment I'm trying to kill you. The next, we are begrudgingly put together as crew. And then the moment after that, I am staring you in the face as you ask me to become a partner in your escapades. I think this is a decent enough idea, but I will ask for your word that you will not do what you did to my crew before and sink us, leaving us all for dead for your own gain, as you did in the past.
He looks you up and down for a moment. Actually, he looks down and then up a little ways. Point being, though, he gives a simple and slow nod. There will be no other decision makers involved in this. It is I and yourselves. There is nobody else.
Orion will slowly turn around, like pivot on one foot with one boot sticking out of his cloak and turn around and nod. And as he does this, he will take a coin purse from under his tunic and throw it into the pile.
The coin disappears into the fat pile inside the large leather sack. And at which point the camera kind of pulls back to show all of you guys. As you stand in a circle around the workbench and the bag, each of you may be holding something. Laz has got like a salted fish he's chewing away on. Barium's got, I don't know, a bowl of porridge for some reason, I'm imagining. I don't know. Or a pancake or something. Maybe a crepe. Fuck yeah.
Pancake.
We see, fuck. I'm trying to think of a good parody. I got nothing. We see the delivery guy taking off. He's got a little mule and a wagon. You can see, shit, I can't even. Breakfast by Ben Hur. He chariots off. As it pans against you guys, each of you eating whatever the heck the Vizier got for you. He got Sorth like a side of lamb, which is great. And Sorth dutifully finishes that, and then of course it hits up the bus for whatever he might have stuffed in there, which is fermenting nicely. Might I add. What was that? Oh, gotcha. I gotcha. No worries. Take your time. No rush.
Yeah, Source goes back to the bus to grab some of his rotten meat just to get the extra.
A little extra protein. Gotta get that.
Yeah.
Gotta get that build. Okay, done, and then as it were. So everyone gets themselves assembled, breakfast done and whatnot, getting prepped for the day. As this discussion is roiling and broiling in front of you, though, as you're snacking on your breakfast, and this happens, Laz, Sorth, Barium, Smokey.
I could see Les like in between bites after seeing Orion throw his money in. And Laz is not known for having cash on hand. Like literally reaching in, kind of scrummaging around, looking for like the loosest piece of copper or silver he can find, and just kind of flicking it in there before he takes another bite and just kind of wanders off in another direction.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
That sounds good.
this is what we're doing now.
And with that, another coin falls onto the pile. The large mountain man lumbers away, bits of fish dripping from his chin. The camera pans against Smokey and Barium, showing Sorth nearby.
Source, realizing that Laz is putting money in the pot, just figured out what the hell's going on. So he's gonna drop his 26 platinum in there.
As we see the yellow eyeball flash upon what happens. A moment later, we see the scaly green clawed hand drop a sack that spills open to show a whole lot of platinum fall out of it. The camera pans against the other two.
As sort of drops that in, I say that should cover Smokey as well.
Broke ass hippie.
Dust some leaves and throw some parsley in there and shit. Anyway, Barium.
Aaron's gonna drop his 39 plat in.
And done. As the sack fills up quickly, I just want to note, as each of you look into the bag, you see each other's piles and contributions, and you can see that the Vizier's thrown in what looks like 100 platinum and a bunch of gold, like a couple 100 gold, and just a smattering of copper and silver. Who knows where he got it from? Well, that said, the camera pans against each of you as one after the next coins are dropped into the sack. At which point the Vizier looks over towards you all and says, This is quite a thing. Okay. He looks towards where Laz has wandered off and says, yells after you, Azaris, hey, you take this. I'm not carrying it. My old bones are not made for that weight any longer.
Where are we going? As I'm zipping up the bag or tying it off.
Nowhere as yet, I should think. We will wait to see what His Eminence, he says it with a bit of disdain, will do. For now, it is still his. Do we wish to make an offer immediately? Perhaps. Or should we wait to see if he in fact decides to sell? He is right. And he looks over towards Smokey. You are correct in that he is a very prideful man. He is a very tested man at this point. So the question becomes whether or not he will sell, or whether his pride will win out from the nice festivities. But where he is the question. I expected that he would either be here, or we would have a messenger arriving by now. We have had neither. And he looks at his watch and says, "Oh yes, it is sundial." He aligns it and checks the time. Anyway, as he looks over towards you all with this last tidbit, he looks at the sack and says, "You have the funds, though. We have an accord. You hold the monies, and I suppose we should go in search of Hamid."
I'll flip up my hood and look down at the ground, and I'll say,
"Yes, indeed, we should find him quickly. The longer we wait, the more dangerous it is that this dragon gets his talons into him, and we're all working for some kind of crooked beast."
He gives a nod.
Hearing this, I'll kind of spit on the ground and push myself up with my staff.
The old man throws his hands in his sleeves and gives a bow. Then we go in search of him. Bring the money, I suppose. Better than leaving it here.
Yeah, I'm not leaving it here. I don't trust the elemental or Sophie.
Is at this point that
I think we all know the best place to gather information in the whereabouts of people. The brothel.
The brothel? Suddenly the camera spins over towards Miss Rodriguez.
Yes.
Sorry, Miss De La Vega Rodriguez. Sorry, Miss De La Vega, who simply gives a nod and says, "I'll drive." At which point you watch as the orange flaming figure jumps off of the bus where it was perched upon, landing down next to her. It sits there for a moment, looking upon her with a bit of an expression that you can faintly make out to be a smile amidst the flames upon its face. It goes to put its hand upon her and then thinks better of it for a moment before cooling itself down to a more blue, cold thing. Still flaming, but then places its hand upon her and simply says, "Okay."
Ah, yes. What a father-daughter moment heading to the brothel together. Brings a tear to my eye.
How adorable.
Remembering your childhood?
Ah, yeah. My mother could work that pole like no other gnome in the universe.
The camera pans against the bus as the fire elemental stares at you, and the door on the bus just slides open by the elemental's will alone, as it continues to stare at you. The smile has faded at this point, and it's just kind of staring blankly at you.
Thank you. Do you mind if I called you something like flamey or flickery or frazzle dazzle? Oh, burnout. Is that what you said?
Yes.
That's a great name. Thank you, burnout.
It simply looks at you, still staring, and says, "Do not call me Burnout. I am a De La Vega. The De La Vega."
No, thank you, burnout.
I'll continue to walk into the bus.
Fair enough. My computer's actually probably got a memory leak is what it is. I need to reboot this thing after every session.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so it goes. Anyway.
As I'm walking in, I'll just kind of yell back to Barry.
Perhaps we can meet in the middle and call it De La Burnout. You know, it kind of matches.
And then I'll proceed inside.
Hey? Go ahead.
Me or Barry?
Barry.
I just said I like that.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Sorry. All right. Following it along, Sophie steps inside, taking position in the driver's seat. As I'm assuming one after the next, each of you climbs into the bus as well.
Yeah, just on my way in though, I call out to the elemental, and I'm gonna speak it in primordial and just ask, my friend, have they bound you here?
The elemental looks towards you, and after a moment, it begins to resonate. It's got an expression of not shock, but I guess surprise all the same. As it regards you for a moment, the expression changes to a neutral one as it begins to kind of rumble in the same way, speaking back to you in primordial. It responds simply saying, "Rooted is what I am, cursed is not. This is a purpose, my purpose. Now get on the bus."
What can I call you?
I would be called by the very name that my half a soul, one might say, is derived from. Call me Diego. Call me Señor de la Vega.
Thank you, Senor de la Vega.
He gives a nod as he follows in behind, taking a few steps towards the door as if he were going to enter the bus before disappearing altogether in a small puff. The bus suddenly fires up, the engine starting, as Sophie looks back towards the end of the bus where everybody's assembling inside. Any last minute?
Lath is going to stash the coin and take his usual position up on the roof.
Right on.
Keep an eye out.
Sounds good.
Yeah, Source is gonna hop up there with him.
You guys head up. I can't remember. I don't believe anybody ever did find a replacement gun for the top.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think they're both gone. The ballista's gone too, isn't it?
Do we lose both the ballista and the...
Yes.
Well, I guess that has to go higher up on our priority list.
Just
Haven't
gonna
had time
point
to
that
fix
out.
anything.
Yeah, you know, the undead and demon.
Kind of heinous. Yeah, it was kind of a thing.
Yeah.
With that said, though, you guys...
It gets lighter and faster.
A little more aerodynamic, not gonna lie. Do you guys currently even have a glider? I don't think you have a glider right now.
I think
I'm not
that's
sure we have
to,
walls.
I'm sorry?
I'm not sure we have walls.
I'm pretty sure the unit is otherwise in fine shape, if I remember correctly. The engine's fine, that's for damn sure. It would tell you if it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought the workers did like work on.
Yeah, the armor plating's all replaced. Like she's. I will say that
Just-
as
there's
the
just
bus
the weapons
rolls
up
out,
top.
it doesn't have the gun, the cannon, or the ballista, but she's sparkling. The tires are even clean as she comes rolling out of the paddock. And as it rumbles past the camera, showing you guys disappearing against, the camera crossfades to show Richard having breakfast. A fine breakfast. A breakfast fit for a royal spy.
Eggs and bacon.
Damn right. Hell, they even have the chicken right there in case you wanted to kill and eat it too. Point is, though, as the camera pans against you, it starts off showing actually a very nice looking wooden polished plate made of 3 different woods. And it shows you using some decent steel cutlery. Camera crossfades to show some stained glass windows filtering golden light down through the place as servants work in the background, feeding several others in the area. The whole of this mess hall is filled with long bench tables. It's sparsely populated in here with a few crowds of individuals, all, of course, plying their meals. It's more of I should say this is an officer's mess hall, so, you know, they're being waited on and shit. As it is, though, you, including breakfast, are confronted by a page looking fellow who looks like a page as he comes and sits down across you and pulls out a pair of scrolls, and he puts one in front of the other and opens it up, puts one in front of himself and opens it up, and looks upon it and looks at you and says, "I believe this is you," and he shows you the parchment, and then at the top it says your name. And he kind of stares at you looking for confirmation.
I just nod.
He gives a nod as well, and then looking down at the scroll, he looks to... Sorry, he was also carrying... he's carrying a satchel with him. Looks down in the satchel and pulls out a small stone that looks... it looks kind of like an arrow, but as he puts it forth, you can see it's got a couple writings, a couple etchings of different sigils upon it. He says, "This is a communications method. You will use this to keep in contact with us."
Do I recognize the sigils?
You can roll Arcanic on it. What's your Arcanic skill? What's your passive, you might say?
Are you talking about the...
Arcane skill? What's your Arcane skill?
Okay, that's +8.
Okay. You look at it and can see that they're quite literally sigils saying the word communicate, send message, you've got mail.
You're kind of cutting out. I don't know what you're saying.
Oh. The stone upon it has several sigils that simply denote communication. And the individual points towards where it's got a green circle at the base end of the arrow. And he says, "Hold upon this, and you will be able to speak directly to this receiving stone here that will be kept on my person. A pleasure to meet you."
I shook his hand.
At which point he says, "My name is Cal. And you are to be on your way immediately, my understanding is."
Of course.
He gives a nod at this. "We are to understand the sale is to proceed later this evening. We're waiting on the parchment shirt to be drawn up. Which point we would like you present for the arrangement. In the mean, you should probably go get familiar with your team. See what they are up to and about to. You've got the stone. Do you need anything else?"
Do you know where they are right now?
At this hour, as he looks at his sundial, there's no sun in here, he says. He looks towards you and says, they should be still at their paddock this early, one would imagine. They have nowhere else to be, rightly. And after a moment's regarding, he says, if they're not there, it's a problem that we'll have to
figure it
solve.
out.
He gives a nod at this. He rolls a scroll back up, puts it in his pocket, puts it in his satchel, and he takes a second scroll that he had with him, and he holds it forth. He just pushes it across the table for you, and he says, that's for you when the job is done.
I take the scroll and I'll make a mental note to check it later.
With that said, the fellow steps off of the bench and looks down at the meal and says, that looks delicious. At which point he grabs a hold of his satchel and walks off.
I'll finish my meal and I'll go over to the paddock.
The camera pans against you in a quick montage as you walk down out of the mess hall towards the stables and secure a ride. Do you take a chariot? Do you take a coach, or do you take a horse?
I'll take a horse.
Okay. With that, they pass you a simple draft horse to get around the city upon, and we montage against you moving through the city, making your way to the paddock. At which point, it shows you silhouetted in the entryway of said paddock, the golden sun streaming down upon it from behind, as we see your shadow cast into the paddock area, and nothing in there. No bus, no team.
Can I spot any tracks?
Absolutely. They head out of the place.
I'll hop on my horse and I'll follow the tracks.
As we watch the silhouette disappear back into the golden sunlight, throw me investigation or nature to follow the tracks.
Cool. 2 + 4, 6.
Oh, unfortunately, the wind sweeping across the place causes the tracks to quickly disappear, and amidst so many others, quickly become lost. Seeking through the city for a moment, it's only but moments later that you've lost sight of where the bus went.
Okay,
Get creative.
I'll try
you're
to...
a spy for the Dragors right now.
I'll try to inspect the tracks to determine what cars or vehicles or whatever are leaving them.
All right, throw me another investigation check.
Oh, cool. Yeah, just give me a nat 1, of course.
You can't help but begin to feel a bit frustrated, I'd say, imagining the bus versus all these tracks that you're seeing, horses, carts, and try as you might, you find yourself following the tracks pretty much to the city limit, or following whatever tracks you can find all the way out to the city limits, at which point you're staring at the horizon, the sun having risen to like high noon at this point for your crit failure and trying to follow a track. And as you stare out and look back towards the city, you think to yourself, there's no way they left. There's no way they drove off. Or did they? No. Did they?
So that didn't work. I'm gonna go around and ask the locals they saw a vehicle matching my description. Because I saw their bus before, right?
Yep. Throw me investigation.
Here we go. 18.
Hey, there we are. Returning back towards the paddock, you start to ask around anybody. At first, nobody's seen anything. Around the paddock specifically, it seems most people were sleeping that early. But as you get out into the street before long, some of the early morning shopkeepers did in fact see that thing rumble by hours ago. Oh, hang on one sec. Oh.
And you have the best rolls, bro.
I do, don't I? Like, call me James Bond, because I swear I'm so good at the spy stuff. You guys should hire me for this role.
Hire you to roll for me.
No cop. I should just carry around a bunch of grenades.
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong?
Nothing. I don't think. Yeah, there's. My IQ is like 300, so I know a bad idea when I see or hear one. I'm pretty sure it would work. I'm not sure what I use them for, but they might be useful in I don't know, stealth operations.
All right. That's a juice box and a half. So, as we were then. This takes you quite a while as you hunt through the city streets, following out to the city limits, and then back in. Despite being on horseback, this thing doesn't exactly haul ass, if you don't mind the pun. Although it's not quite a mule, being a draft horse. Or sorry, being just a standard, maybe not, is draft horse the right term? Like your standard, like old paint, somebody's old, I'm trying to remember the name for your, anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's just an old horse. Point being, is no stallion, no racehorse, nothing like that, no war horse. But it gets you from point A to point B without having to walk. That's worth something. And, like I say, it takes you probably the better part of the day, and then some. Which is kind of unfortunate in terms of timing. But, that said, you do manage to eventually find them. The question is, where do they end up? And for that, we crossfade back to say, you guys rumble out into the streets, heading down towards where you know the pasha was staying, just yonder. As you close the distance upon, you see the building come into view. Parking, it shows a lot of you guys entering upon. Or does everybody go into the building, or just like one of you with Mansoor, or what?
Sortha's gonna stay guard of the bus.
Okay.
Miriam's going in.
All right.
I can see. Well, I can see Les following them, but Sort is holding down the fort with the change.
Yeah, I'm definitely going in.
All right.
I'll just make note that I have my pistol on me this time instead of my rifle. I'm not taking my whole rifle on there.
Okay, that's fair.
Just pistol.
No, that's not right. No, that's not right either. Oh, here we go. Simple enough. The door gives way on the 3-story building. It's unassuming on the outside, simple sandstone, but as you close the distance on, you can hear the music inside easily enough. Okay, I fucking hate Zoom's little control panel. Get the fuck out of the way. As the door gives way to the interior, opulence, drapery, and bodies everywhere, all in various states of dress, writhing upon pillows on stage against the lights filtering in through beautiful high arched stained glass windows, stained to hide whatever is going on inside. The interior is relatively dark. The other side of the double doors that you're pushing away give way to all sorts of spicy smells, as well as wet ones. As you stare up the several flights of stairs leading to the 2 other floors above you, you can see people hanging against the balustrades, banisters, railings, etc. As you enter it upon, you also see there's a bar to the one right-hand side. Basically, there's a bar to the right, a lounge area in the center that stretches off towards the left side, where there's a bunch of benches. You see a bunch of stairs leading up. You can see there's washrooms behind the... actually, there's a full bath you can see in behind the stairs. And the upper floors you can see are rows of doors leading into whatever rooms. You can see there's a kitchen in behind the bar through a doorway. The vizier looks around for a moment and says, "There are quite a few people here for this hour. I am quite surprised."
Well, you know, it is Tit-tacular Tuesday. It's quite busy here. So I think what we must do is spread around and find the most begrudged of the beings in here and ask them if they've seen the pasha around.
With that, you can roll me investigation. The vizier simply says, "Yes, let us do so. Where is he?"
I rolled an 18.
The pasha rolled a 7+. He goes and starts mingling around. Orion rolling an 18. You get a bright idea and get yourself up high on one of the stairs, looking over the crowd. You immediately see that the pasha's not here amidst the crowd. Does anybody else care to investigate anything else? That's Orion and the vizier.
I rolled an 8 on mine, so I'm assuming I just get sort of distracted by all the women that I haven't seen in a few years.
Fair enough. With all the shapely spherical shapes that are floating and jiggling all around this space, Smokey's eyes have trouble focusing on anything but prize after prize. And with that said, Laz, Barium?
Rolled a 7 on investigation.
You do your best amidst the crowd. You get jostled you get jostled a bit trying to get through the crowd initially, and finally getting over towards the lounge area. The heavy smoke and lack of air in here quickly makes you a bit heady. But otherwise, you don't see the pasha anywhere nearby. And the camera pans against Laz in the distance as he...
6.
Man, all you guys, eh? Shit. There's a lot of distractions in this place, I have to admit. But that
Maybe
said...
cursed us.
The camera quickly... pans against all of you guys, and then it shows Laz, and then it just does like a 3-frame zoom in on Laz, I guess. As it shows your eye go over towards the bar, and then it shows you looking towards the stage, and then he kind of like shows you mesmerized. I don't know. Would it be safe to say that when the camera next cuts to Laz, he's got like a woman on one arm and a tankard in the other?
And I heading over to a dice game. That's pretty good.
Hey, look, there's one right there next to that pillow. That looks super soft. That huge pillow.
Can I see a pole or anything anywhere?
A pool?
A pole, like the dance stage or something?
Yeah, actually, the stage does have, simply put, a large central gold post that is used for dancing around.
Okay. Well, with not seeing the pasha anywhere and all of his companions distracted, Orion decides to go to plan C.
Okay.
So he's going to run over to that stage and jump up on it and fling his clothes off and start dancing around the pole like his mom used to.
All right. That's called setup and payoff, kids.
I'm gonna make sure I point over to the bar to make sure he's playing a heck of a tune, whatever the banger is,
That's
Three
fair.
Dragons Deep or Burn Me Later Tonight, or I don't know, whatever's the hot song.
For sure.
At what point does Laz witness this and realize it's going on?
Not right away. In fact, he's not going to notice until the hooting and hollering starts, which is not long after, but throw me performance.
All right, okay. I got this. Okay. 15.
All right. It's quite a good performance, actually. As the clothes, as you say, come flying off, you look over towards the band, who are quick to whip out the zither and the really long flute, and they
Nice.
start going to town at their end. The music kicks up a notch as you start to put on a hell of a show. There are quite a few women in the audience as well, who happen to be well-to-do, or their mates are well enough to do, that you get quite a bit of coinage thrown at you.
Laz definitely throws a coin.
Twink!
Just for visuals, I have my boots still on. I my loincloth, and I'm just kind of
Yeah, I mean, Laz is definitely a couple of deep. He's aiming for a soft spot with that coin.
and then twirling around this thing with my legs, doing what I saw my mom do all those years ago.
You emulate and invoke some of your deepest rooted memories and find just an immediate and incredible release as the crowd begins to holler in approval. There's a shower of coins, kind of like in Ong Bak at the end of the fight, where everyone's throwing a coin. In any event, as you do this in slow motion, I imagine there's tears streaming from your eyes. Flashes
it's
of
almost
mom,
therapeutic,
Flashes of mom
it's
kissing
really
you
needed.
goodnight before she goes off to jiggle it just a little bit. As you finally come to a settled finish, and I'm assuming it's you sliding on your knees after a last spin or some such. I'm just imagining Tom Cruise here, but very short, and
Right.
I mean even shorter, right? And then he slides to a halt as more coins pounce off of your sweaty chest. Some of them stick and slide down. The story, the plot in The Witcher, so
Yeah.
point being, the performance goes as such, and during this time, Laz, is there anything you wanted to comment upon or do specifically other than throw a coin?
But I could see myself whipping a coin at him fairly forcefully, in between rolls.
Throw me a ranged attack. Start a bar fight in the brothel. Yeah.
Now that would be under dexterity. Is your ranged attack?
Actually, it's a thrown weapon, hence its strength. And I'm not going to really consider it a
14 plus 4 for 18. And you have no armor on, right?
He's got nothing on. Except boots.
I got my boots and my loincloth.
And that's
Is he facing towards me or away? Am I?
Well, it's an
waking
18.
him up?
I mean, it could be a called shot at this point with his AC.
Yeah, make it a nut shot.
Ooh, that's a tiny target.
I
mean, because of the distance.
Gotta get close to make him
Because
get
of
a
the
little.
distance.
Just use a big coin. That's it. You get it?
All right. With that said, what is your AC, sir? It's going to be a +6 to hit you in the testicular area. So if it's
So my AC is 15 normally, but
without armor,
without armor, is it just where would I find that?
it's just your dexterity on 10, and if you have any other special bonuses, really.
Okay, my dexterity is +4.
So you have a 14.
Yeah.
So it's +6 on that. So your total to hit for the nut shot will be a 20.
Oh.
My nuts are evasive, bro. You can't just throw things at them.
Is anyone going to inspire him for the nut shot?
I think with an 18, maybe I catch him in the hip. That's one of those like literally just kind of looking over.
Oh, it's a hit. It's a hit. If you're good with it, I mean, at the end of it,
Yeah.
you know, if that's it, you still hit him, but you're not going to get a nut shot
Inspiring.
on him. You're gonna well, let's see where it goes
I'll
then.
remember this.
Nah, I didn't do it. It's 11 plus 4, so 15.
C'est la vie. Had to try. As it is, the coin whips through the crowd and smack pounds into your flesh. I don't know, ass shot, or do you want a hip shot? What do you want? Torso area is still good. I mean,
Oh
take it
yeah,
off
no, I mean,
the
I
left
just
cheek.
want to like just one of those like, thwink.
So with that,
I was just trying to make it wake him up enough. Like everyone else is throwing coins nicely, and he gets pelted with one like.
oh yeah, and it's
shit.
it's actually pretty visible amidst all the other coins that are coming in. I want to say it just flashes like a little golden meteor. Bam! And as it leaves a good fucking welt on him where it strikes and falls down onto the ground a moment later, having taken a piece of flesh with it. So that said, you can take a point of damage for that. But that said, the performance is still amazing. You make 134 gold,
Damn.
2 silver, and nobody had the audacity to throw copper. And that's actually a sorted coin, but you can get it changed later. So
Worries. Just to note, when it hit me, I begrudgingly but thankfully I was turned from the audience, so they couldn't see my face.
not
and
the
then
whole
as I
audience.
turned around, I just kind of went and put it on the spot where it hit me, and tried to be all sexy.
I just ruled that Orion had been through worse. I'm not even worried about it. I guess I could
Oh,
make
yeah,
you
I
have to
mean-
make a con check on it.
Yeah.
Make another performance check through it or some such. But nah. I already settled up how much money you got thrown at you. I like the visual. I also liked him
Perfect.
hitting the coin, but priorities. That said though, as you guys are doing all this and being all distracted and what shit, what is let's see, Sorth is doing what he's doing out of the bus. Richard is searching the city, and let's see. I'm just trying to think. What is Barium's passive? Barium's passive is shit. And I'm trying to think. Where is Smokey? Smokey is going to be situated over towards the bar when he hears a ruckus over the music coming from the bathroom.
Orion's still on the stage at this time. No one I came with nearby.
Correct.
All right, I'll get up and wander over to the bathroom.
You can hear inside. You were responsible for that. You paid for that. Your blood is on their hands. I did not. I did not do this. I admit I was in on the deal, but I did not know what it was going to be. You listen to this. You are. And suddenly you hear a wallop that sounds like a punch, and you hear a groan of pain, followed by a violent smash. At which point the door is pulled open, and two large, one large fellow and one not so large fellow walk out. In behind, you can see a ragged but well-dressed fellow knocked out on the floor, a bit of blood pooling from his face.
I'll walk in and do a check on the guy on the floor and see how he's holding up.
He's unconscious.
But stable.
He's not dead, yeah.
Do I recognize him from anywhere? Probably not.
It's kind of hard to tell through the blood, but you know you've seen this guy before.
Can I just use my sleeve to wipe some of the blood off his face?
Yeah, you
Try
can
to
do
get a
that.
better look at him.
For sure. They've got a wash basin here, too. It actually has running water.
Are they like nearby towels? That'd be helpful as well.
I'm going to say they do have a pile of rags.
Alright, so I'm just going to dampen a rag and clean his face up a bit.
Okay. Easily enough, do you clear up what looks to be the pasha's face as you look into Hamid's disheveled form. Have you met Hamid? Yeah. You were
I was at the table with him.
That's right. That's right.
Does the water res at all, or he's
out cold.
Alright, I'm gonna do a cure wounds on him then.
With a quick word, the magic. Hey?
For 10 health.
Ah, very good. With a quick word, you place a hand over his head, and the energy resonates upon. The etheric energy suturing up the insides of his jaw where his gum line's been ruptured, actually, from being smashed off. And a moment later, the hemorrhage in his head is closed up as well. With that, he gets basic addition back. And as his one eye snaps open, the other shut by blood, he looks up towards you. I know you.
I was at the meeting with the Dragors.
He gets up off the ground, coughing blood all over the tile.
Your crew and me, we were coming to find you. They're just outside. I think you should come with Smokey.
He gives a nod and sits back on his ass for a moment, getting himself together before pushing himself up onto his feet. Looking around the washroom for a moment, he looks down at himself, seeing all the blood caked on his nice clothes. He gives a shake of his head and takes them all off, leaving him with just a t-shirt and breeches. And folding him over his arm, he says, "Lead on."
I'll take him back into the main room and try and see if I can spot the others that were there with me.
You can see them spread out around the place, and you can especially see Orion spread out. That said, the camera pans against Richard making his way through the city streets until such time that he suddenly sees the bus parked outside of the brothel about 3 blocks down from the paddocks. So, that said, and comical montages aside, he heads into the brothel, seeing that the bus is parked outside, and there's still money in the meter.
Is it a nice brothel?
It's the nicest brothel this close to the race paddocks.
I silently judge them for their taste.
God, this is just atrocious weed. Holy crap. Holy, put that one away. Damn. Excuse me, pardon me.
Sword for recognized dick.
Who's Dick?
You. Richard? Yeah, that dude.
Huh?
Yeah. Richard.
I've never met a Dick in my life. That
One
sounds
day,
wrong.
I don't really believe that.
Cap.
Yeah. Have we met before?
Who knows?
You should.
I think we have, because I was at the dinner table when you guys were eating.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, Sword probably wouldn't have paid attention to you. Okay.
What do you mean I'm mad cute? Holy
But
charisma
do
of
you dance like Orion?
9. No, I cannot. My bolts get too rusty. I can do the robot. Yeah. Nobody wants to see my my robo dick. Sorry.
Your parts.
And with that, the camera pans against the doorway, slowly opening up as Richard slips inside, looking around the whole of the scene. What's your passive perception?
Ton.
You can see that there's a bar over on the right, a lounge on the left. There's a bath in behind the stairs, and there's stairs going up for 2 floors full of doors. There's a stage yonder, just ahead of the lounge, in between the stairways, and you can see that there's a very, very replete stage made of several bodies writhing, jiggling, jumping around. Amidst them, one of the old race team, who seems to have already picked up new employment.
Wait, so I recognize him?
You do, as a matter of fact, and as you can see, he's already moved on from the race career.
I facepalm, and then I start slowly making my way over towards them. Try to watch what they're doing.
Well, from
Make
what
sure
you
they
can
don't
see,
notice me.
the one's stripping for money now,
Yeah.
and making good money at that, from what you can tell.
I'll pull out like a couple coins, but don't throw them.
Okay, fair enough. There's another one right there. 135 gold. No, I'm kidding. It was in the 134. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. So where were we? Sorry. Camera pans against the scene to show the rest of you guys, though, as old Smokey comes out with the old pasha. And as our man Hamid looks out around the room, his face still a bit puffy despite the spell. It's quickly receding down and deflating at an accelerated rate, obviously, a very accelerated rate. But as he walks about, adjusting himself and getting over the cricks and cracks that are quickly fading from the magic, he sights upon Orion in the middle of the stage and says, "That's the sight I never thought I would see." Okay. He sits down at the bar and says, 2, 1 for me, and what do you want? He looks over towards Smokey. Drink. What do you drink? He gives his head a shake, trying to shake the fog from it.
Just tear, just tear water.
Yeah, looks over towards the barman, and in Kalashite specifies for some hot tea. Camera pans against you as he looks at you, and then looks out towards the room, looking for the rest of his crew. And after a moment, he manages to see Laz towering over everybody else.
Laz still gambling?
Yes.
Can I gamble a lap dance from Orion to whoever's at the table with me? As in, if you lose, you have to get the lap dance from Orion. Like you would buy a lap dance for a buddy across the bar.
Yeah, I kind of get it. I'm just like, I'm not even sure if how that would work, because you'd have to solicit that from Orion.
Not necessarily. The customer might just assume that it was being solicited from, or it was a proper fish. Let's see how well he handles himself in just a pair of boots and a loincloth. No, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's all good. Point being, though, if you wanted that, yeah, you typically have to get that from the individual. You solicit the lap dance from the individual. I mean, I would know. Point being, Hamid is bruised. His ego's bruised. You more or less have his ear. He's not doing or saying anything. He's just kind of waiting on tea at the moment. It takes about a moment for that tea to get to you guys. It's thick with honey, hot and smoldering. It's spicy, deep and black. And the right light, it looks kind of purplish. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, I think I want to get the rest of the people here to talk to him. I don't think I have the history with him to be the one trying to sell him on this.
As my performance ends, do I notice him at the bar?
As your performance ends, yes, but you are in the middle of your performance.
Okay.
Well, not the middle of it. You're nearing the end of it. You got probably about another minute or two before it finishes up.
Okay.
An athletic guy. What can I say? It lasts about 3 minutes. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, then I'd just be making some small talk with him about the Dragors and his goals once he offloads this team and that sort of thing.
Yeah, all right. He he gives a few slow nods again, along with what you're asking, not really responding, not really giving you any solid answers, but just hemming, as you might be like in terms of small talk, you might be like, so you're selling it, or
and
should make good money off it, or something like that, I imagine.
Yeah, and I'm gonna pry a bit into what was going on in that bathroom. What yeah, Smokey heard you getting a bit of a altercation and was wondering what that was all about.
He gives a nod, and then he looks up, looking out towards where he sights Barium, and shouts. You're not sure if he's dodging the question at first, but then he looks at you. Is Barium there? And then he shouts your name again, trying to get your attention, which he seems to. Laz can hear this sudden yell from the crowd in the midst of his bet.
Barium's just gonna obnoxiously kind of point over with his mouth wide open and start walking over.
The pasha looks over towards you and says, I made a bad investment. And a really bad investment. I wish I had not. He
What was it?
looks over towards Barium. I put money into a mining operation. I thought it was a I thought it was something it was not. It turned out to be a very large regret for me.
This is why you need to sell.
Partially, yes. The money was good. But now that I know what it is that was paying for this, I can no longer do it. And it means that I have debts to settle, and I must solve the problem. And it's do you know the work that you put into the race has earned us some monies. Your first placing that you made during the first leg of this adventure brought us quite a bit of coin, and I thought perhaps it would carry us through. But we had the issues that we faced in the previous leg leading here, and we did not see that money. The cost is considerable, and I regret that I am not able to hold it. It is not just the cost, though. At least not the monetary cost. And as he says this, the music going hard in the background, everybody cheering on for Orion and whatnot. The bartender comes over and looks towards Barium, looking to see if you want anything.
What's the strongest thing you got?
The bartender flexes. Otherwise, I can lift my apron.
Well, I can't drink you, buddy.
Oh, but I disagree. At which point he gives a chortle and says, "Would you care for a wine? Or perhaps a mead? Some tea?"
Give me a mead.
He produces you a tankard of steaming hot. At which point, camera pans against you guys. As one after the next, Laz coming in from his gambling session. Throw me a skill check here. I'm trying to think. What is it? Intelligence plus. Actually, we'll go. We'll go charisma and proficiency. You're a card shark.
$16 plus 4, 20.
Very nice, very nice. You bring in also 130 gold. 134 gold. What the fuck?
And I did it with my pants on.
And 6 silver. Different strokes. That said, sorry, where are we here?
There was stroking involved.
Everybody slowly assembles from around the brothel, coming in close upon one another. The Pasha looks up at you all. Richard, you can see this all from nearby. And as Hamid regards you, each of you, as you approach, he leans back in his chair and the camera cuts to outside, showing Sorth sitting on the battle bus. Sophie on your left, and the flaming figure of Diego de la Vega on your right. And Diego says as he looks over towards you guys, "It's hot outside, huh?" Sophie simply says, "Shut up, father."
As he says this, I want to pull out like a thin slice of meat from my satchel and kind of put it near him and hope he can cook it.
He looks at this slowly and then looks at you, and the camera pans to show Sophie. Shows you just pull the meat away, and it's nicely seared, easily edible, and just perfectly heated. Just the ideal barbecue sitting right next to you. And as the elemental simply just continues to stare at you do this, it leans over and sees Sophie laughing, and then simply leans back and looks ahead with a bit of a smile on its face. The camera cuts to back inside where we see Hamid looking at you all, and he says, "I did not expect to see you here. Why are you all here?" The vizier suddenly appears from the crowd. But he doesn't approach right away. And so far as whomever of you can see the vizier, the pasha does not. He, in fact, walks behind and closes the distance on the bar. Sitting in earshot, he simply beckons the bartender over, and close in with him, asks for whatever he asks for. He then waits and sits there. The camera pans against you, all of you, as Hamid again says, "Why are you all here?" He grabs his tea, or wine actually in this case, his wine, that he has brought over, and begins to slowly sip it.
Wish to make you an offer.
He gives a chortle at this and says, "This is quite the business dealings environs, huh?" He gives his head another shake, trying to get whatever's fogging up his brain out. And he says, "Would that we had a quieter place. So, what is it that you wish to offer? What is it that you want?"
We wish to buy the team off of you.
He doesn't say anything for a minute. Another minute. Does anybody say anything while he just sits there kind of silent? It's quiet for a good minute, 2 minutes. Nobody has to. I'm just asking if anybody does.
I get a drink.
I ask Orion if I can buy him a drink before he goes back up on stage.
Am I done now? I'm assuming so.
Yeah, actually, as your set finishes, you find yourself walking off stage, seeing all of your companions surrounding the pasha.
Upon seeing this, is Laz near me? Like, could I actually hear him without being near him, or did you approach me, Laz?
I would assume that it's like a good-natured ribbing while you were like walking over towards the group, kind of a thing.
Okay. So I'm going to actually leave my jacket on, but leave my pants off and just walk around with my boots and no shirt and no pants. Just wanted to make that clear.
Your charisma has gone up during this, during your time in this place until your next short rest type thing. You have like a +2 to all interactions, charisma wise.
With that being said, before I approach my group, I would like to. Is there any like really shady people that I see around?
Yes.
Like noticeably, like, sitting in the dark, drug dealer type.
You see lots of merchants around this place. Clearly, part of the merchant caste. You see quite a few military people, and you see one or three people here. Two men specifically, an older gentleman, a younger fella, and a middle-aged woman over there. The three of them look wealthy, but for no reason that you can see. They're not part of the merchant caste, and they're not military-oriented. Doesn't mean that they're necessarily gangsters, thieves, criminals, etc. Just persons of an interest.
Okay.
Otherwise, the rest of the rabble in here is merchant caste or military.
Okay. Could I approach maybe one of the military-looking folks, like someone who looks more like a mercenary, not like to do with the guard or anything like that?
Yeah, that's fine. There's contracted guys.
Could I approach one of them?
Yeah, by all means. There's tables that have groups of fellows. There's also, they're all groups. I mean, the smallest group of them is a a table of three that you see to the one side there, close to Gyno Row, but not on it.
Okay. Do they look busy or do they look like approachable?
They look like they're idly bantering and lightly drinking.
Okay. And I'm assuming they look like pretty battle hardy and pretty like intimidating, right?
You can tell, yeah, in short. They've got, the one guy's got a bag of stuff. The others, none of them are dressed in armor. They're not like ready for fighting, but the one guy has like a bag of stuff with him.
Okay. Yeah, I'll approach that table then.
Okay, and when I say a bag of stuff, I mean you can see there's a folded chain suit sitting in it. There's a sword strapped to the side of it. It's like a duffel bag proper. You approach upon the table. At which point, the youngish fellow, he looks elven, and the older fellow, who also looks like he's an elf. Sorry, the older. No, wait, my apologies. The of the three guys. Yeah, no, fair enough. We'll go there. They're both elven, and fuck it, all three of them. Two elves and an orc. There we go.
Okay.
As it were, though, they've got tattoos upon them that show they've had service in the Navy, as well as abroad. You recognize a couple of the tattoos. One of the elves has what you see to be tattoos denoting he's a member of the local cloaks. They're just your run-of-the-mill guild for messages around this place.
Okay. Yeah, I'll approach them slowly with like kind of a friendly look on my face, and I'll just kind of like lean onto their table and get near to them.
They're neutral towards your approach.
So, what did you think of my little performance there?
The one looks down at you and then looks over. Toth loved it, says one of the elves to the orc. The orc simply, it was cute.
Well, thank you. I got it from my mother. I spent my childhood looking from the stairs at her career. It was terrible. Anyways, you all look like strong men, and I was curious. Do you happen to know anyone that maybe in this brothel or nearby that may provide large rat poison? Like I'm talking like giant rat. I have a massive problem.
The orc looks at you for a moment and then looks over towards the elves, one after the next. And the one that hasn't spoken, the one with the guild tattoos, looks at you and says, I might know a fellow.
That fellow happened to be within this building or nearby.
Nearby enough. What is it? How much you need?
I need enough to end the life of something over approximately 200 pounds. Like, it has to be the strong stuff. You know, these rats, they get so big and just massive problem.
I can get something to drop a horse with a drop.
Precisely, yes.
Cask of that runs 50 gold.
I'll give you 50% on top of it if you can get it to me ASAP.
He looks at the other two. The orc simply says, I'm not going anywhere for a bit. If you want to make a run, go. The fellow looks towards you and says, let's see the money.
I'll go into my coin purse with my newly acquired wealth, and I'll slam 75 pieces of gold on the table.
The fellow looks down at the coins. He separates out 40 of them, and he pushes the other towards the orc. The orc takes the blade that he was like cleaning his nails with, and he chops it in half-ish and pushes the rest towards the other elf. At which point the fellow with the 40 says, "Be right back." And he heads out. Without another word, he makes his way through the crowd and disappears out the doorway. The orc looks over towards you and says, sit tight if you like, or at your table.
Yes, if you don't mind, I will stay here and yes.
Where's your suit? It's gonna be a few minutes, and the camera pans back against Hamid. At which point he looks at you guys and says, so, what makes you think you can afford it?
You'd hand it all over to that dragon?
No, it is not about that. It is who will pay the monies that I need to pay my debts. Grenadiers at my level, they don't take kindly to late payments. So I make sure to have monies to have debts paid, as I tell my clientele. Practice what you preach, is it not?
How much do you owe?
Quite a bit, here and there. Not just for services towards the race, of course, but mining equipments, logisticals and such, bribes. So
How much? How much is he paying for the team?
the Dragors, they're speaking to me of several tens of thousands of gold pieces. Approximately, give or take, 2200 platinum. For the bus and the team, although you are not beholden to anything.
I don't think we can compare.
The vizier you can see in the background, he kind of just, as he takes another sip of what he pulls from his mug, which seems to be a steaming mead. I could settle for less. My debts, I will be honest, they amount to merely 900 platinum, approximately. The race fees will be coming due for the next leg. The team itself does have still a fund made of the few monies not spent upon the team from the kitty established from your winnings.
I'll kind of look over to Barry and Laz. It's not my winnings.
How much did we have pulled together, guys?
All told, if you guys have counted out what you have, it's just shy of 10k. The vizier kicked in quite a bit.
Look at the rest of the team and
How much do we want to offer from what we have here? We didn't exactly have a plan.
I would not see the Dragors get their hands on another win. The influence they peddle from these victories, it's led to them controlling far too much.
I would not have them seen with my bus.
Then I think you spend what you can to get it.
It's not all my money.
Well, it's none mine.
No one else seems to have anything to say.
The camera pans against you guys for a moment, and then it cuts to show Sorth situated outside on the bus. As Diego begins to say something, you look over towards him and he says, I sense a conflict within. And he kind of just leans back on the bus to look behind where you guys are parked and looks into the building. You can't see anything through the windows, but he simply says, there's many emotions, but I can sense your friends. There is a great conflict.
Alright. Sorth is clearly the best with emotions, so he's gonna go walk in. He's gonna hop off the bus and can you guard this thing?
Sophie looks towards you. Are you sure it's the best thing for you to walk into that brothel? Hey, look at you.
What's a brothel?
She just gives a shrug and looks over towards Diego. At which point she looks at you and just gives you a hand wave of, go for it.
Alright, Sorth is gonna walk in and see what he sees. I'm assuming just like the assless chaps of Orion.
As you walk in, immediately by the doorway, a woman screams and runs away. A few of the patrons look over, ah! And rush off.
He's excited by this. He enjoys this. We should have came here sooner.
Camera pans against to show people clearing out of your way as you walk in. This massive lizard thing. And as you clear the stairs leading, clear the doorway leading into towards the lounge bar area. You can see the stairs, the baths, etc. And specifically, Hamid settled against the bar with an encirclement of all your companions. The place is full of people who are looking over towards you. Some of them visibly freaked out, many of them not. Anyway.
The flame thing said you guys have an issue.
Some of you might look towards the window when he says this, at which point you realize that's not the sun, that's actually Diego.
Peeping through.
His name is Diego de la Vega.
Burnout.
The camera cuts
That's
to
too
the
many
bus.
names to remember.
The camera cuts to the bus stop and shows Sophia looking at Diego, who says, "The old man knows my name. That is commendable." Which one cuts back to you guys?
No one seems to have a plan.
Oh, what does a race team cost, Barry?
It's up to Hamid Pasha.
What are you offering me? He simply says. Speak of your offer.
Someone tell him a sponsorship.
I'll write your name into the side. Sorth is gonna pull out 73 more gold and just flop it on them.
Have I gotten the poison yet?
It's on its way. As you're patiently waiting and you're watching this happen, your lizard man friend comes in. Point being, the bargaining continues while you're waiting on a barrel of poison.
How much did we have in total?
With the extra 73, we'll say you are, you know what, at 10,000 exactly.
10,000 plat?
10,000 gold, so 1,000 platinum.
Yeah. Alright.
And you said he offered 2,200 plat.
Yeah.
But he only needed 900 to cover his stats.
Best we could offer you is about 1,000 platinum.
You can always make your debts disappear.
The pasha gives a smile and a shake of his head. The people
Or
I
the
owe.
debtors.
The people I owe. Ha! They would more likely make me disappear. No, there is no weaseling away out of these debts. You wish me to take less than half what I am offered. That is. And as he regards this, I mean, does anybody want to throw any sauce on this? Any persuasion? Any intimidation?
Source can't negotiate with shit. Do I know what they're saying when I'm spying on them?
Miriam could try.
Yes, you do.
Nice.
You are there. You are seeing this all play out. And, by all means, if Barium wants to do anything.
Miriam rolled a 15 in persuasion.
What does Barium say?
We can't possibly compete with the Draggers. Obviously, they have so much influence, so much money, so much power. But can you really sleep at night knowing you're going to fuel the Draggers even more? As many problems as they cause, as much as we can't stand them, you just want to give it all to them.
I mean, nods along this.
How about this? We buy this team from you. It will help solve your debts. And maybe we figure a way that some of the earnings from the team can still slide your way.
He leans back in his chair at this. Okay, Barry. He finally says after a moment. Okay.
So maybe we buy a portion of the team from you.
I will. I like this plan then. Yes. Okay. I can have Mansour draw the parchment, sir. And we can... He sits kind of going quiet. And you start to see tears stream down his face. And he simply says, without cracking or voice breaking, he says, we can do this. This we can do. And he doesn't say anything else. He just kind of sits there, emotionally frozen in the moment. You're not sure if he's upset, angry, happy, sad. But after a brief moment of welling and streaming tears, he simply says, I like it. Yes, we can do this. Mansour doesn't actually say anything. He puts down an empty cup and he walks away from behind the pasha, walking around into the crowd, disappearing amidst them. The camera crossfades against each of your expressions as you realize what's just happened. Richard, you watch as Mansour walks off past you, disappearing towards the doorway. You figure his lordship will probably want to know this right away. Camera pans back against each of the team What's Orion's expression?
Have I found out about the deal yet, or I'm too far?
You're
away, I'm
sitting right
assuming?
there. You're sitting right there amidst everybody. Are
Oh,
you not?
okay.
Yeah. Your show
I'm not
ended.
at that.
Oh, sorry. That's right. You're waiting on the poison still. That's fair. It would be about now that timing would dictate. Sure. The fellow shows up. He's got a leather bag with him. He puts it down on the counter, or actually, he puts it down on the floor next to him, and he just kicks it over towards you as he sits down.
Okay. I'll I'll nod at him, and I'll quietly. How big is it? Is it just like
It's a hand cask. It's a hand keg.
Okay.
And look,
I'll just,
what is that? That's a liter.
Okay. I'll slide it into my overcoat discreetly, and I'll nod at them all and quietly depart. And then I'll approach everyone gathered around the pasha.
You close the distance, gathering around, as you see the unmistakable streaks of wet tear streams on the Pasha's face as he's still looking disheveled and exhausted, drained, but has a bit of a smile on his face. And what's everybody else's expression? I mean, Laz, you're sitting there. You're standing there.
Laz is running out of fingers trying to figure out what share he now owns with his 1 gold piece, now that it's been diluted. I think he's happy to have the Pasha back in it. It's a mixed feeling because he thought the Pasha was going to put more to him than just throw him in with the race team because he had worked for him. So there's a little bit of that underlying the excitement about being back in the team and doing something.
What's Orion's expression then? I'm just having heard the news here.
He's gonna be like fake smiling, semi-happy, but also unsure of the situation. He's kind of lost a little bit of faith in the Pasha just by how quickly he was willing to sell us off just because he was in some debt that had nothing to do with us.
Sorth?
Sorth is pretty much just happy he doesn't have to work for the Jaguars. That's pretty much all he cares about.
Fair enough. Is Richard still hanging around, or is he taking off to deal with the news? Don't forget you have a communication stone, too.
Yo, Dick. That's you.
I smile. Like a little smirk. And I look.
Alright. So, what are you doing then?
Okay, so after they're done discussing that, I'm gonna go use my communicator and inform the people about this decision that they made.
Yep.
So I'm just gonna detail everything they said, and yeah.
They say that's great news. Thank you for delivering that. Please stand by for further orders.
Instead of standing by, I'm gonna go back to spying on them.
How's it work?
Just keep looking at them. Maybe I'll sleep at one point. I don't know.
The boss just simply says, it won't take but more than a day to have the necessary paperwork drawn. And then the race team is in your name. and you can enter into the great races. You can continue in the great races yourselves.
Well, let us celebrate this moment, shall we?
Agreed.
This is a great night. Drinks are on me tonight.
The pasha gives a nod at this.
Let's not go cheap then.
Agreed. We won't be drinking over on the road. This could be the last night of celebration until we win our next leg.
Hangovers for all.
The camera pans against to each of you, as the bartender can be seen in the background, noting what's going on, comes close. It goes quiet in the sound effects as we watch you guys order drinks. As the music continues to play, the pasha, his smile fades as he kind of nestles in. As Laz comes in towards, the pasha all but disappears in the shadow that Laz casts. The camera pans against the whole of the crowd in the brothel, the women dancing and writhing, the men dancing and writhing, and the men and women around throwing coinage or appreciation, hoots and jeers. The games being played nearby on the pillows, and finally out the door as we crossfade to roll credits.
Could I make note that Orion wasn't like heavily drinking? He was playing the part, but not getting completely intoxicated.
That's fine.
And he was also keeping an eye on the pasha's movements.
The pasha doesn't really drink anything himself. I will say that as the credits roll, it shows the festivities, and for some, you know, whatever. It's a good time to drink. And for others, it's not really a time for celebration. The pasha doesn't really drink. He's not really stoked. Clearly, he's at a loss. He's not digging what he feels he has to do. And he understands that others don't understand why he feels that way. And you guys, obviously, each of you feels as you do, betrayed, abandoned, like you're just a thing for this fellow. Point being, in as much as it's a time to celebrate, because yes, you have your independence, but you never asked for it. It's not what you wanted. It wasn't what was important. What was important was getting it done. But here you are. And all that carries, all that weight. Point being, as the camera wanes against, we see this painted across each and every one of you as you described how you felt. And as the camera finally crossfades to black, we come to the part where Dobransky, would you like which it was released?
I liked how the option came up that we could buy out the race team. That crossed my mind last session, and I was like, oh, that'd be fun to do. But of course, Source knows nothing, so he can't bring it up himself. I like the little subtleties between Sophie and the De La Vega spirit. It's a little heartwarming moment of him finally trying to connect with his daughter, so that was cool. I loved Orion's dance. That was great.
Unexpected and cool.
Yeah, very unexpected. Played well. I liked Laz's attempted trick shot. But I also like what the communicator dude said to Rickard, where he's just like, oh, that's good. Where he wasn't even upset about what was going on. He was just, okay, everything sounds like it's going to plan.
Yeah, right?
So I want to see where that comes out next.
Right on. Benny, would you like which it was Bird's least?
Me? Did you say Ben?
Yeah.
Okay. I like the whole spy thing. When I just got my assignment, I went out. I got lost, and then I finally found them, and I started my job. It was uneventful, but like I feel in the future it'll be more interesting. I could really really play the information game.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Cody, what'd you like? What was least?
I really liked how this all unfolded, and I feel like it's like the end of a chapter. You know, we're about to flip the page and start a new chapter.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked everyone's interactions this session. Like everyone kind of had a role to play, whether it was big or small. Really enjoying kind of what Dobransky said there with the Spirit and Sophie.
Daughter,
Yeah. I kind of like how that's unfolding. I can kind of see the relationship there developing, and then also kind of their comfort around us is kind of growing, which is cool. Just kind of feels natural. And I'm excited for next session because I kind of have something that in mind that I want Orion to do. I think he feels like he needs to do it for the crew. I mean, you can probably all guess, but
for money?
No, it's not for money. It's just for the protection of the crew. Like he's after dying and then almost dying again. He's like in hyper protective mode of his crew and his friends. So he's not going to trust anybody unless he fully believes in them.
That's why you went and bought a hand cast of wyvern poison?
Yeah. So
one drop to drop a horse.
I don't know if I'm going to be successful, but Orion's definitely on a mission to protect his friends and crew. So yeah, I'm excited for next one.
All right.
Or you could become a stripper.
Worst case scenario, I run away, get up on my glider and fly to another land and strip for the rest of my days. They'll call me the flying helicopter.
Little whirly bird.
Yeah, the whirly bird, that's it. I'm not quite big enough for a helicopter, you're right.
So I'm just gonna say I'm making an adjustment to the amount of poison you get. It ain't a hand cask. We'll say it's about like
Leave it.
You know what? Never mind. Yeah, it's about a hand cask.
They said it would be like he said a drop would kill a horse or something like that. Is that what he?
Yeah, he's exaggerating, but it's about correct.
It's like heavy duty stuff.
It's just the cost is a little out there. So.
Oh.
Cost for this stuff is typically, and I'm just looking this over. Like, I'll be honest, it just says wyvern poison cost 1,200, but then it doesn't say how much that is. So I'm thinking it's actually 1,200 for like a dose. And I'm like, okay, how much is a dose?
I mean, you can bring it down to a vial. I don't need much to do.
Like,
with
I'm gonna say
you have the discount for scale, wholesale prices.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that, to be honest. I'm not really worried about the $1,200 price tag. Like, whatever. But I will say it's 7 milliliters, and it's because it's 7d6 damage for a dose.
Right.
So we'll say if you got 7 milliliters there.
7d6 damage. Okay.
And yeah, you can stab somebody with it, or you can make them ingest it. Either way, we'll get it into their bloodstream, and is a d6 damage per milliliter, we'll say.
All right.
And it's DC 15 con save. It's actually in the rules. Wyvern poison.
Suppository.
Oh my god.
So I have 7 milliliters. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. You have a vial of 7 milliliters.
Okay.
And with that, you now have stats for your poison.
Okay.
Right on.
Perfect.
Sean, would you hit? Was your least?
It's definitely another twist trying to figure out where we're going with this. I don't know. I haven't quite figured out what Laz's feeling is on
Everything.
getting back in with the pasha on this. It's like, I was doing it for the crew, hence throwing in the coin, even though it's symbolic and Laz is always broke.
Oh, I wanna make it clear. He's not actually still working with you guys. You guys are buying him out. There was the promise of like throwing him profits from your winnings, and he said he'll draw up paperwork for it, but you are buying him out. He doesn't.
Oh, I thought we were buying out like a share of it from the conversation. Maybe I misunderstood.
No, you guys are buying him out.
So yeah, I mean that makes it a little different. I think seeing them just isn't going well for Laz. But other than that, it's nice to have a relief for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But now we got to remember what the hell to do with the goddamn bus. Like, we have to reload this thing and get ready to go. And
we need to find a place to store it now. I don't think we have a paddock anymore.
Well, that's what he was saying about drawing up paperwork to pass it over to you guys. Because what you'll be able to do then is just renew, pay your race fees for the next leg, and you're just the same team moving forward, just new owners.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what the Dragers were going to do. Otherwise, you have to get relicensed and etc., recertified, blah, 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 all the sort of paperwork that the pasha had paid the good bribes to get, greased through.
Yeah, kill the guys to make sure that they don't get,
With that said, sorry, anything else, Sean?
No, the rest is good. It's just trying to figure out how to play Laz into this. So
fair enough. Summer, what'd you like? What'd you hit? What's your bird's least?
I really liked the little scene with the pasha in the bathroom and getting to rescue him and hearing about and seeing his deaths firsthand. And I like that we were able to successfully buy him out in the end.
Mm-hmm.
So we can go up against the Dragors on our own. And then as far as dislikes, I think I struggled a bit to negotiating a sale with winnings and stuff that I have almost nothing to do with. so that I was finding quite difficult in the middle there, but we got it worked out in the end, and I got to meet a fire elemental, so things were good.
Mm-hmm. I like how Smokey's figured his way into the group. I think it's been a natural progression there. Nice natural progression there. Rick, what did you like? What did you say? What was your favorite part? What did you like least?
Like the Bransky said, I like the Sophie and Mech and I relationship sort of showing itself a little bit, a little bit of interaction here and there, little hints. I enjoyed Orion's dance. It was nice comedic relief. Always a good time. And Laz as well. Having Smokey in the groups, it's nice. I will miss Bjorn, but it is nice, having a new flavor in the group. And having Dick spying on us, it's a weird sentence, but yeah. I'm interested to see where that goes and how it affects us in the long run. And as far as the deal goes that we just made, I legit pulled that idea out of my ass. I didn't know what the fuck I was going once I started talking. I was like, oh, well, maybe we can offer him a portion since, we're not able to outbid the Dragers. So I was kind of impressed with myself there.
Bravo. Yeah, bravo. That was quite good. At first, when you appealed to his pride and you had rolled well, I rolled for him and he had rolled very poorly. And I had a tough time giving you the win because he wasn't really making out over it. And his pride, he isn't that prideful. But then you pushed, as you did, with the extra monies coming through. And at that point, I'd be like, all right, well, you tugs his heartstrings enough. If you can give him the semblance of a payoff in the future, I'm sure that, as a businessman, he could see the potential there. Given what you had mentioned.
Yeah, I just thought like if we were offering less than 50%, then we got to offer him something else,
Yeah,
like some kind of stake or.
That's definitely something right there. But like I say, yeah, he's. We'll see what the paperwork looks like, I guess, in the end, as the old saying goes. Or did I just coin that? Either way, the truth is that at this stage, the idea is to sell the team, not just retain a share of it, but I guess that would be the way to draw it up on paper. The ultimate idea being that he gets a share of whatever winnings, but he doesn't want to have anything to do with the race team. That much is clear. Mansoor, on the other hand, that's another story. And the after
That
credit
makes
scene.
me curious where he's gonna go with it.
In the after credit scene, we see Mansoor coming out of a scribery with a parchment in hand that he gives a rub on the freshly pressed seal, looking it over, gives a smile, and he tucks it into his sleeve and walks off, exit stage left, down the streets of Teshburo. And with that, we'll call it. Myself, I very much liked the pacing. I thought that was fantastic. I thought the story rolled out fantastically. It seems, in the end, like everybody did get a little something out of it. And I'm excited that, as you said, we've reached the end of a chapter, and we're moving on to a new phase of the story, a new leg of the story. So yeah, from Teshburo onward and upward. Everybody had fun?
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
Not everybody takes 2,400 experience for a great session. What level is everybody now? 11-ish?
10.
Yeah, working my way to 11.
Yeah, I'm also 10.
Are you guys at the halfway mark or close to 11?
I'm just under half.
Okay.
I think I just hit 10.
I just hit 10.
Let's see, 2,400. Yeah. Just like one notch into 10.
Cool. Right on, gents. Yeah, good session all in all. Right on. Everyone's got their experience. And until next time, I say thanks for a great game. My fantastic palette of personalities is my plethora of players. And until next time, your 20s land on 20.
Thanks, Tools.
See you
Thanks,
next week.
everyone.
Thanks.
Sounds good.
Have a good night.
Good night, guys.
Everybody.
Catch you
Cheers,
guys
all.
next week.
Peace.
Yo, Cody, when's ours though? Oh,
I gotta pick a date. I will let you know tomorrow.
okay.
Curse of
Good night, guys.
All right.
Cheers,
Bye.
all. And for those of you playing the home game, I don't have the chat up. I tried to throw it up, but unfortunately the system needs a reset because it's dying. Memory leaks being what they are. However, thank you very much for watching, and until next week, everybody.